Book of Heaven, Volume 32, September 2nd, 1933. Channels commerce between heaven and earth, trades of the soul who lives in the divine will, contest of love between creature and creator. I am always the little atom in the divine volition, just newly born, and I feel the extreme need to be nourished and raised in its paternal arms. Otherwise, the human will arises in me to form its unhappy life. My God, have pity on me, and do not permit that I know or acquire any other life but that of your divine will. And feeling afflicted, oppressed, because of the almost continuous privations of my sweet Jesus, which keep me sacrificed on the stake of a pain, such that God alone is witness of a martyrdom so hard, I had a fear that my unhappy human will might do me one of its tricks, and my beloved Jesus to infuse courage in me, sustaining me in his arms, for I could bear no more, told me,
"My blessed daughter, courage, banish from your heart any fear, which is the weapon that either kills or wounds love, and makes you lose closeness with your Jesus, while I am neither able, nor do I want to be without intimacy with one who wants to live of my will. It would be as though she were not one with me. And if it were so, I would not be able to say that one is the will that animates us and forms your life and mine, but I would have to say, you have your will and I have mine. And I do not want this, because the living in my volition would no longer exist in you. Instead, in each pain you suffer, be it even my privation, and in everything you do with your whole being, I want you to always call my will, so that all your acts may form the channel through which it may find the way, the place in which to enclose its goods and make them flow in abundance. According to the channel you have prepared, each act that you do can be a channel of graces, of light, of sanctity that you lend to my will, which will make you the owner of the goods. It encloses in your acts and will make them flow for the good of all. See then what your being, your pains, your acts must serve me for, as many little channels in which I can always place something of my own. Depositing what is mine is happiness for me. It is to give me work to do. It is to feel myself loved and known. And therefore my desire to deposit my divine properties in the acts of the creature, to make her the owner, is so great that I am on the lookout. I act as a vigilant sentry. I use all my loving attentions to see if her acts are empty of the human will, and if she makes the call to my divine will, which, finding the void in the human acts, makes use of them as channels in order to deposit in them the greatest graces, the knowledges most sublime, the sanctity that most resembles me, and with this it forms the divine dowry for its beloved creature."
After this, he remained silent, and then he added with a more tender tone,
"My daughter, you must know that for one who lives in my divine will, there is no time to be wasted, nor can one pay attention to certain trifles, to fears, to oppressions, to agitations, to doubts. One who must do what is greater has to set aside the lesser. For one who must take the sun and enjoy it, it is necessary not to bother with the little lights, and one who possesses the day must not pay heed to the night. In fact, the sun is greater than the little lights, and the day has more value than the night, and if one wants to pay attention to both, he runs the risk of not being able to enjoy all the fullness of the light of the sun, or do everything that the day can do. And it can happen that in order to pay attention to the lesser, one loses the greater. More so, since for one who lives in it, my will wants to be always in act of giving, and the creature must be always in act of receiving. And if she wants to pay attention to something else, my will is forced to take breaks in acquaint. It's giving, because it does not find her attentive on receiving what it wants to give. And this is to break the divine current, and if you knew what that means, how attentive you would be. Moreover, you must know that as the creature does her acts in my divine will, she enters into the divine banks and does her trades of infinite value. Because she comes into our volition, even though she is small, yet she comes as the owner, and makes herself the owner of what our divine banks possess, and she takes as much as she can take. And since she cannot enclose within herself everything that she takes, she leaves it in deposit together with our own treasures, and we let her do so. We delight in her trades, and our goodness is so great that we give her the interest on the acquisitions she has made. So every time she does her acts in our volition, she opens commerce between heaven and earth, and she puts into traffic our sanctity, power, goodness, love, and we, so as not to be left behind by our beloved creature, while she ascends, we descend down to the lowness of the human will, and opening our commerce, we make the acquisition of the human will, a trade so much wanted by us and pleasing to us, and so we compete with each other, and we conquer each other. Good daughter, to live in our will, and at the same time, for her to have nothing to do with us, or we with her, and to have nothing to say, or not to make ourselves felt, is impossible for us. If it were so, it would no longer be our life that we carry out in the creature, but a way of speaking, not a reality. Life feels the absolute need to move, to make itself felt, to breathe, to palpitate, to speak, to give warmth. How can one suffocate a life, being there, living, and not making oneself felt? This is impossible, to God and to the creature. Therefore, do not become alarmed when you feel that everything is silence in you. Those are brief incidents, because I myself feel the need to make myself felt, that my life does exist in you. Being there and not making myself felt would be my hardest martyrdom. I can do it for a little while, but not always. Therefore, do not be concerned. Live all abandoned in me, and I will take care of everything.
Fiat.